Hotels are supposed to feel safe. Bright lobbies, fresh sheets, a locked door separating you from the rest of the world. Yet that thin comfort hides a darker truth. Hotels are strangers stacked on strangers. Dozens of unknown lives surrounding you while you sleep. You do not know who used your pillow before you. You do not know what happened in the room next to yours. You do not know who might still be inside. Every hotel keeps secrets. Staff know which rooms guests refuse to return to. Management knows which rooms require cleanup far beyond normal housekeeping. Police know which doors they are called to again and again. The worst part is simple. They never tell you. If a room can be rented again, it will be. A quick change of bedding cannot hide what refuses to leave. Think about the last time you checked into a hotel. The lonely hallway. That stale smell. The lights just a bit too dim. You unlock the door and step into a place that has absorbed years of other people's fear, anger, sorrow, and desperation. What lingers in the carpet? What watches from the shadows? What has this room witnessed that you never will? Some guests wait to someone seated at the foot of their bed. Some hear a phone ringing that is not even plugged in. Some hear children running in hallways that are completely empty. These accounts are real. Staff pretend they heard nothing. Guests convince themselves it was just their imagination. Until something proves it was not. Tonight, you will hear 3 terrifying true hotel horror stories. Each one spirals deeper into danger. Each one shows that even locked doors do not keep everything out. So check the peephole, bolt the door, and listen closely. Because in hotels, something is always awake. And it might be waiting for you. Story 1, The Room They Never Rent. I travel for work all the time. Which means I have grown used to the lifeless carpets, the flickering exit signs, and the hollow feeling that comes from sleeping in a room that was never meant to feel like home. Last month, I booked a stay at a hotel just off a lonely interstate. Not fancy, not filthy, just the kind of place where you check in late and leave before sunrise. Except that night, they had a problem. The receptionist, a man with deep circles under his eyes, stared too long at his computer when I gave him my name. "Huh, looks like we double booked you," he muttered. I forced a laugh. "Guess I'll sleep in the hallway then." He did not laugh back. Instead, he leaned closer and whispered, "We do have one room available, but we don't usually rent it out." "Why not?" I asked. He hesitated. His jaw tightened. "It's on the 3rd floor. Far end of the hallway. Room 329. If you take it, please, do not ask the staff about it." I assumed it was some dumb hotel superstition. Or mold. Or a broken lamp. I would have slept on the roof if it meant I did not have to keep driving. So I signed the paperwork, took the key, and headed to the elevator. The 3rd floor was colder. Not air conditioning cold. Graveyard cold. The lights buzzed like they were fighting to stay alive. Every few steps, one flickered out behind me. By the time I reached room 329, the hallway was dead quiet. No sound. No TVs. No guests. Nothing. The "Do Not Disturb" tag was already hanging on the door. Weird. But I ignored it, slid the key card, and stepped inside. The room looked fine. Clean sheets. Television. A window that overlooked the parking lot. Nothing unusual except one detail, the mirror. It was massive, bolted across the entire wall opposite the bed. Not stylish. Not decorative. Just a giant reflective rectangle that felt strangely out of place. I dropped my bag, exhaled, and collapsed onto the mattress. That was when the knocking began. 3 short taps. Like fingernails. Right behind the mirror. I froze. Waited. Then laughed nervously at myself. Old pipes. That was all. Except it happened again. This time louder. Knock. 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 I sat up. stared at the mirror. The knock came from inside the wall. Probably a rat, I whispered. Because rats knock politely before introducing themselves, right? I turned the TV on and cranked the volume. The sound covered the knocking for a while, until a new noise joined in. Whispering. I pressed mute. Silence. Then I heard it again. Like someone speaking behind glass. I stepped closer to the mirror. The whispering stopped. My breath fogged the surface even though the room wasn't cold enough for that. Then fingerprints appeared. Not mine. Small, childlike handprints pressing outward from the other side. Fingers dragging down. A chill crawled up my spine. I stumbled backward, tripped on my baggage, and hit the floor. Enough. I grabbed my phone and called the front desk. I want another room, I demanded. Silence. After a long pause, he replied in a low voice, "Do not listen to anything you hear. I will be right up." Before I could argue, the call dropped. The TV switched off. The lights dimmed on their own. And something breathed right behind me. Not human breathing. Shallow gasps. Desperate. Hungry. I turned slowly. Nothing. The curtains rustled. I backed away. The air smelled sour, like rotting flowers. My pulse hammered in my throat. The mirror groaned. Like pressure from the other side. Someone wanted out. The door handle rattled. The receptionist. I rushed to the door and yanked it open. He shoved his way in and slammed it shut behind him, locking every bolt. He was sweating. Eyes wild. "You did not touch the mirror, did you?" he asked, voice trembling. "No," I stuttered. "What is happening?" He swallowed hard. "That room is supposed to remain sealed," he said. "A family died here, decades ago. The parents were found in bed. Peaceful. But their child, she was never located." "Never?" I echoed. Guests reported seeing her. Hearing her. Touching the glass. We shut the room down. Ordered a new renovation. That mirror, he pointed, hand shaking, was meant to contain whatever still lingers. Contain. Not conceal. The mirror thumped. Once. Twice. Tiny fingertips smudged the glass again. "We need to leave," he whispered. He cracked open the door. The hallway was pitch black. Lights dead. The emergency exit sign flickered weakly. We stepped out, but before he could close the door, something scraped from inside. Like nails on wood. Then a small giggle. A child's giggle. We ran. Halfway down the hall, every door we passed began to rattle violently. Like people trapped behind them. Begging. Clawing to get out. The walls pulsed with sound. I sprinted faster. The receptionist clutched a ring of keys, fumbling, cursing. We skidded into the elevator. The doors began to close. Just before they shut, I glanced back. There she was. A small silhouette inches from room 329. Bare feet. Head tilted too far to the side. Hair covering most of her face. Except her mouth. Her smile stretched ear to ear. Teeth sharp. Skin bruised blue. She lifted a hand. Waved. The elevator doors sealed. We shot downward, and the moment we hit the lobby, the receptionist locked the security gate to the stairs and called maintenance to fix the third floor. Permanently. He told me to gather my things and leave immediately. No refund. No apology. Just get out. As I drove away, I caught a glimpse of the top window. Room 329. The curtains twitched. Someone watched me leave. I never learned that receptionist's name. Never reported anything. Never slept in a hotel mirror-facing bed again. One thing still keeps me awake sometimes. When I checked into the hotel, the receptionist said the room was unavailable. So who was the last person who stayed in there? Before me? Because hotels never leave a room unrented for no reason. Especially a room that already has a guest inside. Story 2, Do Not Disturb. I worked the overnight shift at the Riverside Gateway Hotel. The kind of job where the carpet patterns look like optical illusions and the lobby music loops so quietly that silence feels louder. Night shifts change a person. They stretch time. You start noticing small things because there is nothing big happening to drown them out. The day staff sees check-ins and bell carts and laughing families on vacation. The night staff sees the leftovers, late arrivals with wild eyes, lonely businessmen drinking liquor they cannot pronounce, and, sometimes, rooms that never sleep. Room 217 was one of those rooms. I first noticed because of the deliveries. Every night around 2:30 a.m., the phone rang at the front desk. A soft voice ordered room service. Always the same order: tomato soup, club sandwich, and a glass of milk. My manager, Paul, handled the calls at first, but eventually he shrugged the task to me. He said the guest tipped well and never complained. Barely speaks, he added. Good kind. Except no one ever saw them. Housekeeping logged the room as occupied, yet it refused daily cleaning. Guests usually ask for fresh towels, new sheets, something. Not this one. The "Do Not Disturb" placard never moved. The breakfast trays disappeared from the hallway each morning, but only after every staff member was gone. Once, a bellhop knocked to deliver extra pillows. The door opened only an inch, a pale hand slipped through, and the pillows vanished like a magic trick. The door clicked shut before the bellhop could even say hello. He came downstairs white as chalk. "Someone is in there," he whispered. "Someone, wrong." Word spread through the night crew, and soon room 217 became a running joke. The vampire suite. The crypt. The hermit's cave. We joked because humor makes fear digestible. Yet none of us wanted to deliver their food. Eventually, everything became my problem. 3 weeks into this absurd routine, my curiosity turned into fixation. I checked the reservations. No name listed. Just a corporate account with a redacted ID. Payment posted automatically. No check-in. No check-out. No record of arrival. Whoever was in that room had been there longer than any staffer could remember. One night, I worked alone. A storm pounded rain against the glass doors and rattled the decorative plants. At 2:33 a.m., the phone rang. "Room service," the voice whispered. Softer than usual. My stomach tightened. "Of course," I replied. "Tomato soup, club sandwich, milk. It will be right up." Static crackled on the line. The voice exhaled, almost a sigh, or relief, or hunger. I plated the meal myself since the kitchen worker called out sick. The service elevator chimed as I ascended to the second floor. The hallway smelled stale, like curtains that had never moved. Lights flickered as if the storm messed with the wiring. Room 217 sat at the end of the hall. Its silver numbers gleamed like fresh teeth. I knocked. The silence that followed felt alive. I knocked again. "Room service." The lock clicked. The door opened a crack. The same pale hand reached through. I should have simply handed over the tray. That was the rule. Do not look inside. Do not question. Do not disturb. Curiosity is a rot. It starts small. Before I realized, my foot slid forward, wedging the door barely wider. The hand froze. Thin. Almost translucent. The skin stretched tightly over bone without warmth or color. I glimpsed the interior. Heavy curtains sealed the windows. The air looked thick, hazy, lacking motion. A dark shape lay on the bed, completely still. "Let me help you set this down," I forced out, voice trembling. The hand recoiled slowly, then vanished. The door opened 1 more inch. The shape on the bed shifted. I stepped back. Something about the movement felt unsynchronized, like a puppet pulled by tangled strings. I could not distinguish its face from the shadows. Only a slight glimmer of eyes reflecting the hall light. Breathing. Too slow to be human. A rasping whisper slithered out. "Close the door." I dropped the tray. The milk spilled. Glass shattered. I ran. The elevator button seemed to take an eternity. I punched it repeatedly, heart pounding against ribs like a trapped fist. When the doors finally sealed me inside, I did not breathe until I returned to the safety of the lobby. Paul came in early the next morning. He found me shaking with a cup of cold coffee. I tried to explain, voice cracking, but he raised a hand. "You saw something. We all do eventually. Best you forget it." He logged a maintenance ticket for room service dishes in the hallway and changed the subject. Later that afternoon, when day staff arrived, one of the housekeepers screamed. Room 217's door was wide open. The guest was dead inside. Or what was left of them. Police reports said dehydration and starvation. They estimated the man died weeks before I ever delivered food. Which meant someone else had been taking the trays. They sent me home after the questioning. Tagged it as a tragic suicide and moved on. Hotels thrive by burying horrors beneath hospitality. The room was sealed with caution tape. Night shifts continued. Yet the phone kept ringing at 2:30 a.m. Same order. Same whisper. No room number. Paul told the caller to stop pranking us. The next night his wife found him sitting on their kitchen floor, repeating, "Do not disturb," like a malfunctioning machine. He never returned to work. Management changed. They replaced staff. They redesigned the second floor. Room numbers shifted. Room 217 vanished from the directory. Except I still know where the door should be. When I pass that hallway, I hear breathing from behind the drywall. Since then, sleep has become the enemy. Every creak of my apartment walls makes me flinch. Every shadow in the corner of my room feels like a doorway cracked open just a little too far. I moved states to get away from that hotel. I told myself distance would dissolve fear. Fear does not care about miles. It travels through memories. Through phones. Through the quiet moments when you think you are safe. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I pushed that door open all the way. If I had seen the shape breathing in the dark. A guest who never checked out. A hunger that did not die with the man they found. The hotel staff never speak about it. They pretend the room does not exist. They nailed the door shut eventually, but some doors do not stay closed. 2 nights ago, someone knocked on my apartment door. 3 slow taps. I checked the peephole. No one was there. Yet a hotel room service tray sat neatly in front of my door. Steam rising. Fresh. Waiting. I called my old manager. I had to. He answered, but there was only silence. Then he exhaled one trembling sentence, "It followed me too." He hung up before I could respond. I look at my phone now. The screen lights up with a new message, no number attached. Just a room number. 217, and below it, those same 3 words. Do not disturb. I know it will knock again, and next time I will answer. Tonight. Story 3, someone checked in. Without a body. Vacations are supposed to feel like breaking away from stress. New places, soft beds, hotel comforts. Yet for one couple named Evan and Marissa, a weekend getaway would become the memory that ruined every future vacation. They had booked a cozy boutique hotel slightly outside the busy part of town. The photos showed velvet curtains, polished flooring, spacious rooms, and an exceptional window view overlooking the river. It seemed luxurious enough to justify the price. After all, they wanted peace, not a party. Upon arrival, check-in went smooth. The receptionist smiled politely, though her eyes carried a subtle panic, as if she was rushing through a script someone forced her to memorize. The couple thought nothing of it. Exhaustion from travel dulls curiosity. They just wanted to drop their bags and fall into the fresh sheets. Once inside their room, everything looked perfectly ordinary. The bed was tucked neat and tight, the bathroom gleamed, and the television welcomed them with a muted movie promo. A faint lemon scent lingered in the air. Yet something felt too perfect. A single suitcase still sat in the corner. Not theirs. Evan paused. "Hey, babe, did they mix up the room?" Marissa shook her head. Reception said this was room 402. Maybe housekeeping forgot to remove it. The suitcase was zipped shut but slightly dented in the middle, like whoever packed it shoved things in too aggressively. They debated whether to call the front desk, but exhaustion defeated responsibility. They pushed it into the closet and left for dinner. It was still there when they returned. And they learned the first unsettling truth about room 402 that night. The first warning. Around 2:30 a.m., Evan woke to the sensation of warm breath near his ear. His eyes snapped open expecting to see Marissa leaning towards him. Instead, she lay sound asleep facing the other direction. A soft exhale again. Controlled. Intentional. He jerked upright. No one else in sight. He checked the front door. Locked. Bathroom. Empty. Closet. The suitcase sat there like a silent intruder. The air around it felt colder. He shook it off as nerves. Travel stress. Maybe he dreamed it. Morning arrived and they forgot the event, until Marissa noticed her phone wasn't on the nightstand. After searching, she found it shoved under their bed frame. She laughed it off nervously. Maybe it fell. Evan didn't remember hearing a single thump during the night. Still, they continued sightseeing. They kept convincing themselves everything was fine. That excuse didn't last long. The second warning. Night 2. The couple lay asleep until a sharp clang echoed inside the room. Marissa shot up in terror. The closet door had swung open on its own. No draft. No movement. She nudged Evan and whispered, "There's someone else in here." They grabbed their phones and scanned the room flashlight style. Nothing. Although sleep felt impossible afterward, their bodies eventually caved to exhaustion. The sun greeted them a few hours later, and with it came a horrifying discovery. Marissa's engagement ring, normally placed on the bathroom counter before bed, was missing. They searched everywhere. Under pillows. Behind lamps. Even inside the suitcase. Nothing. That is when Evan noticed something chilling. The chair next to the window had been pulled right up to the side of their bed, facing them, almost like someone had spent the entire night watching. The hotel's secret habit. They stormed to the front desk. The receptionist looked startled when they mentioned room 402, then quickly replaced her expression with a weak smile. "Oh. That room. Yes." She whispered to the coworker behind her. I will send someone to check later." Evan grew frustrated. "No. Check now. Someone is breaking into our room." The receptionist leaned closer and spoke quietly enough that only they could hear. "You cannot move rooms. We are fully booked. Just keep your door locked. Call us if you feel unsafe." "Feel unsafe?" Evan snapped. "We are past that. The woman's eyes widened with fear, like she knew something but would lose her job if she said it. They returned to the room unwillingly. The atmosphere felt heavier. The air tasted metallic, like copper coins pressed against the tongue. Still, they endured. Only one more night before checkout. They regretted that logic later. The trap. Before sleeping night 3, they decided to run a test. A trap. Evan placed his wallet on the nightstand exactly centered. He laid his phone face down next to it. Marissa positioned a small travel bottle on top of the closet door so it would fall loudly if opened. They killed the lights and climbed into bed. Pretending to sleep required every ounce of discipline. Minutes dragged like hours. Then it began. Soft footsteps. Slow. Calculated. They sounded inside the room. Evan's heart pounded so violently that it shook the mattress. The footsteps moved toward his side of the bed. A chilled breath wafted across his neck again, followed by a faint giggle. High-pitched. Malevolent. Marissa trembled. Evan gripped her hand under the blankets. A hand brushed across his cheek. Cold. Human. The sound of someone crawling under the bed. Marissa nearly screamed, but Evan covered her mouth. The travel bottle crashed. Closet door swinging open. The footsteps sprinted. Straight into the bathroom. Evan switched on the light. Nothing. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The only space unsearched was the one they both feared. Under the bed. The body that wasn't there. They crouched with a trembling determination and pulled up the white bed cover. The space underneath stretched deep into darkness where the light did not reach. Then something moved. A hand. Filthy nails. A thin wrist so small it resembled a starving animal. A face followed. Pale. Eyes hollow. Lips cracked and stretched into a grin that whispered. "You took my room." They screamed. The figure lunged at them, but it was slow and weak. In panic, they ran out the door, sprinted downstairs, and begged the front desk for help. The receptionist exhaled as if she expected this. "You saw him." "I am sorry." Security arrived. They checked the room. Under the bed was empty. No trace. However, the suitcase in the closet was no longer zipped. Inside, police discovered clothing, toiletries, and a journal that explained everything. The owner had been living inside that hotel for years. Not as a guest. Not paying. Hiding. Crawling between rooms through maintenance ducts, slipping under beds, stealing food, watching guests sleep, touching their things. He loved the closeness. The intimacy. The control. The hotel kept it quiet to avoid shutting down. There were at least 27 reports of disappearing items, missing guests, unexplained scratches, and late-night breathing. Every case pointed to the same unseen tenant. Someone who checked in long ago. And never left. The final haunting. Evan and Marissa left the hotel that night. They never returned to collect their belongings. Police searched for the intruder for weeks but found nothing. No signs of recent exit. No traces of movement in the ducts. Some say he still lives in the walls. Waiting for the next room where guests seem too comfortable. Waiting for a new bed to sleep under. A new mouth to breathe beside. A new ring to steal. Tonight, someone in a hotel somewhere is sleeping peacefully. Completely unaware that a pair of empty eyes is studying them from inches away. Because at some hotels, a guest can check in without ever needing a body again. You might think that checking into a hotel means leaving your problems behind. Fresh towels. Air conditioning humming. A door that locks. Yet after everything you have just heard, you know better. Hotels are never as empty as they seem. Every room carries history that the front desk will never mention. Every hallway holds footsteps belonging to someone you cannot see. Every wall is thinner than you want to believe. So the next time you slide that keycard and step into a room that smells a little off, or feels a little colder than it should, pay attention. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Because safety is a fragile illusion, and some doors should never be opened. Some rooms should never be rented. Some guests should never be seen. If you still think the horrors end when you check out, there is something else you need to hear. There are people who disappear inside buildings filled with witnesses. People who vanish while alarms are sounding. People taken during emergency drills, when everyone is supposed to be safe. Click on the next video, 3 true stories of people who disappeared during emergency drills. Watch it before you turn the lights out. You do not want to be the next one missing.